Have you ever felt like life just pushed you so hard that you didn't even know how to stand up again? Like you gave your best, but everything still went wrong? It's strange, isn't it? Sometimes you fall so low that you don't even recognize yourself anymore. You start to think maybe it's over. Maybe that was your last chance. But what if this fall isn't the end at all? What if it's just the beginning of your comeback? There's a small story of a man who lost everything he loved: his work, his peace, his confidence. One day, while sitting quietly near a small river, he saw a broken tree branch floating in the water. The current kept pushing it, but somehow, it kept moving forward, never fighting the flow. In that moment, he realized he didn't need to fight life. He just needed to rise again, softly, like that branch. And that was the start of his comeback. Welcome, my friend, to Wisdom Woven. This space is for people like you, who refuse to stay down. You may feel tired, hurt, or unseen, but trust me, your comeback can be the most beautiful part of your story. Before we go deeper, I just want to say something straight from the heart. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.3% subscribe. So if you feel connected with these words, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Woven. Your small action helps this little community grow and reach others who also need a light right now. Now, take a deep breath. Let's talk about comebacks. Not the loud kind. Not the ones that need to prove anything. The quiet comebacks, where your heart slowly heals and your spirit starts walking again. Buddhism teaches that everything, even your pain, has a reason. Every fall holds a hidden lesson. Every wound carries wisdom. When you stop resisting and start observing, you see that your broken moments were never your weakness. They were your teachers. So, if you've been hurt, if you've lost something or someone, just remember this: the storm doesn't last forever. Stillness comes after every storm, and when it does, you'll stand again. Maybe not the same person, but surely a stronger one. And that's where your real comeback begins. Ah, my dear friend, come sit close for a moment. Let's not rush today. The world outside moves fast enough already, doesn't it? Everyone is trying to fix something, to prove something, to show that they are doing fine. But inside, there's a small voice that still feels broken. You know that feeling, right? When you smile for others but your heart whispers, "I'm still not okay." That's where the real journey begins. Not when the world believes in you again, but when you start believing in yourself, even a little. In life, we all fall. Sometimes it's a small stumble. Other times it feels like the whole ground disappeared under your feet. You might wonder why it happens, why things fall apart even when your intentions were good. In Buddhism, we say, nothing breaks without reason. Every crack in your life, every lost dream, every person who left, they all came with a quiet teaching. You don't have to figure it all out now. Just breathe. Sometimes, understanding takes years to arrive, and when it does, it feels so soft that it doesn't hurt anymore. That's how wisdom comes, not with noise, but with silence. When the fall happens, people around you start giving advice, don't they? Move on. Be strong. Forget it. But how can a heart forget what it once loved? The Zen way isn't to forget. It's to sit with your pain until it no longer controls you. When you sit in silence and face your hurt, you'll notice something gentle happening inside. The hurt begins to speak. Not in words, but in feelings. It tells you where you went against yourself, where you ignored your peace, where you tried too hard to please others. And when you start listening to it, you slowly begin to understand who you really are. That is the awakening born from falling down. A true comeback doesn't start when you win again. It begins the moment you stop running away from your truth. I once met a young man who told me he had lost everything. His job, his relationship, his hope, all gone. He came to the monastery just to find some air to breathe. Every day he sat under a Bodhi tree and said nothing. Weeks passed, and he didn't speak a word. Then one day, he came to me and said, "Master, I didn't find peace, but I found myself crying less." I smiled. That's how healing starts. Not by wiping away pain, but by letting it flow without shame. When you no longer hide your tears, the heart becomes lighter, and the world begins to look softer. You see, a comeback is not about becoming stronger in a hard way. It's not about shouting to the world, "Look, I'm back." It's about walking quietly through your own darkness until you start seeing light again. The strong comeback is the one nobody sees coming. Not even you. It happens in silence. In mornings when you wake up and feel a tiny bit of peace where yesterday there was none. That's real power, soft, humble, and alive. When I was younger, I used to think being calm meant being cold. But as the years passed, I learned that calmness is not emptiness. It's understanding. It's knowing that everything changes, even your pain. You cannot rush healing, just as you cannot force a flower to bloom before its time. You water it, you wait, and one day it opens. The same happens with your heart. You take care of it. You let it breathe. You forgive yourself for not being okay. Slowly, quietly, your strength returns. Sometimes people ask me, "Master, how do I face people after failing?" I always smile gently and say, "You don't face people first, you face yourself." The world only sees what you show, but you see what you hide. If you can look into your reflection without anger, without shame, that's when your comeback has already started. The Buddha said that the greatest victory is not over others, but over oneself. So, before you think of rising again, forgive yourself for falling. There's a story about a monk who lost his temper one day. He broke his bowl and shouted at a young novice. Later, when he realized what he had done, he went to the garden, picked up the broken pieces, and placed them together again. Of course, the bowl couldn't hold water anymore, but he kept it on his shelf. Every time someone asked about it, he said, "This bowl reminds me that even broken things can be beautiful if you don't throw them away." That's how you must see yourself. Not as something ruined, but as something reborn through cracks. Do not be afraid of slow progress. Sometimes your comeback will not look like a big success story. It will look like you waking up one morning and deciding to try again. It will look like you forgiving someone you never thought you could. It will look like you smiling for real after weeks of pretending. Each of these moments is sacred. Every small act of courage adds up, quietly building your new life. I remember once during a retreat, a woman came to me crying. She said, "I keep falling into the same mistakes. I try to change, but I end up back in the same place." I listened quietly and told her, "You are not back in the same place. You're standing on the same ground, but you are different now. You understand more. You hurt less. You forgive faster. That's progress, even if it doesn't look like it." And she smiled through her tears because she realized that growth isn't always visible. Sometimes it just feels like peace after the storm. Many people misunderstand strength. They think strength means not breaking down, not crying, not showing weakness. But real strength is soft. It's in the quietness of the person who still believes in kindness after being hurt. It's in the calm breath of someone who still chooses love after losing everything. That's the kind of strength the Buddha taught. Not of the body, but of the spirit. In Buddhism, We often talk about beginner's mind. It means looking at life as if seeing it for the first time. Fresh, open, curious. When life knocks you down, beginner's mind helps you rise again because you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" You see the world not as punishment, but as practice. Every moment becomes an opportunity to learn something new about yourself. That is how the comeback begins, by looking at your pain not as an enemy, but as a teacher. My dear one, your fall doesn't define you. What defines you is your courage to stand up again, even if your legs still shake. Do not rush. The Zen path is slow and quiet. Take one step at a time. Feel the ground under your feet. Hear the sound of your breath. Life is not waiting for you to be perfect before it gives you peace. Peace is already here, hidden in the middle of your mess, waiting for you to notice it. And when you notice it, just a small spark of calmness, a soft sigh of relief. Don't ignore it. Sit with it. Let it grow. That's how transformation happens. Not by running, but by resting in awareness. Every time you stop to breathe, you come back home to yourself. And from that place, your comeback will not be forced. It will be natural. Sometimes your heart will ache again. Memories will return. People will hurt you. That's life. Even the Buddha was not free from suffering. What makes the difference is how you hold that pain. Do you let it poison you, or do you let it polish you? A diamond doesn't shine because it avoids pressure. It shines because it survives it. So, when life feels heavy again, remember to sit down, breathe, and whisper to yourself, "This too shall pass." Not as a cliché, but as a truth you feel in your bones. Because everything does pass. Even this moment of sadness, it too will fade, like clouds drifting across the sky. And when it does, you will see the sun again. The same sun that never stopped shining, even when you couldn't see it. You don't have to be fearless, my friend. You just have to be willing. Willing to try again, to love again, to believe again. That willingness is what makes a soul strong. Let the world rush if it must. You take your time. A comeback that comes from peace lasts far longer than one that comes from pride. So just stay with yourself a little longer. Listen to your silence. Let your pain soften you, not harden you. And when the time comes, you'll rise, not as who you were, but as who you've become. And that, my dear one, will be your quiet miracle. Facing the fire without burning inside. Ah, my dear friend, come, sit with me for a while. Today, I want to talk about something many people fear. The fire of life. You see, life often doesn't warn us when the heat comes. One day, everything feels calm, and the next, you find yourself surrounded by flames you never expected. It could be a broken relationship, a sudden loss, a failure that shakes your confidence, or even the quiet pain that eats at your heart at night. And when it comes, it's easy to feel like you will burn completely, like nothing will survive the heat. But let me tell you a secret, softly and gently, so you can hear it with your own heart. Fire, when faced the right way, can also teach you how to glow. Long ago, I met a young man who was desperate. He came to me carrying a weight in his eyes, the kind of weight that made every step a struggle. He had been betrayed by someone he trusted, and the pain had set his mind ablaze with anger and sadness. "Master," he said, "I feel like I'm burning from inside. I can't think. I can't sleep. I just want to lash out at the world." I looked at him and saw that his heart was like dry leaves on a windy day, fragile, ready to ignite. I didn't say much at first. I just asked him to sit and breathe. And then I began to tell him a story, quietly, in a voice that barely disturbed the air. I said, There is a forest far away that catches fire sometimes. The trees fear it, the animals run, and the wind carries smoke for miles. But in this forest, there is one kind of tree that doesn't burn, not because it is stronger or smarter, but because it has learned to bend with the wind, to let the flames pass without resisting too much. It does not fight the fire. It observes, it sways, and when the fire moves on, it remains unharmed, standing tall, with even new leaves sprouting. That tree teaches us that fire is not always the enemy. Sometimes, fire is just the teacher. He listened, his eyes wide, like he was trying to find himself inside the story. And then I said, "Your anger, your fear, your pain, they are fire. If you try to fight them with more anger, you will burn. If you try to escape them, they will follow you. But if you sit, if you breathe, if you feel them without judgment, you will survive. Not only survive, you will learn something precious. You will learn who you are, what truly matters, and what does not deserve your energy." We spent many mornings sitting together in silence. Sometimes he cried. Sometimes he just stared at the sky. I would not hurry him. The fire within cannot be extinguished with force. It cools down only when it is understood, when it is allowed to speak, when you welcome it as part of your journey. Every ember inside him became a lesson. Every wave of heat became a teacher. And slowly, he began to smile again. Not the loud, happy kind of smile, but the quiet smile of someone who knows he can face fire and not be destroyed. You see, the fire in life is inevitable. People will hurt you. Things will go wrong. Even your own mind will betray you sometimes, filling your head with doubts, fears, and regrets. But the moment you stop seeing fire as an enemy, the moment you start seeing it as a signal, a guide, something changes. You feel the heat, yes, but you also feel the strength inside you that can endure it. This strength is not something you acquire overnight. It grows slowly, quietly, like roots digging deep into the earth, unseen but holding everything up. Once, during a very cold winter, a river near our monastery froze completely. The villagers came to me worried. "Master," they said, "the river is frozen. The fish are dying. What should we do?" I told them, "Do not try to break the ice yet. Sit, observe, and notice how it changes every hour. Watch the sun touch it. See how the wind moves across it. The ice will melt in its own time. Force will only shatter it, harming what lives beneath." They were puzzled at first, but as the days passed, they saw the ice slowly soften, allowing the river to breathe again. Life, like fire, like ice, unfolds in its own time. You cannot rush it, nor can you force it. You can only learn to move with it. Sometimes, the fire feels unbearable because we are carrying more than we can handle. We have old hurts, regrets, and expectations that pile up like dry twigs around a small flame. And then, even the tiniest spark feels like it will consume us. This is why it is important to look at the fire inside us gently. Ask yourself, what is mine to carry? What is someone else's? What can I let go of? Letting go is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is learning that you do not have to carry the world on your shoulders to survive, and that some flames are meant to pass through you, not stay inside you. I remember a woman who had lost her home in a storm. She came to our monastery, crying, shaking, feeling like the world had turned its back on her. I walked with her to a quiet field and asked her to feel the wind on her face. "The wind touches everyone," I said softly. "It does not judge you. It does not blame you. It just passes through. Fire is like that too. Pain passes. It may leave marks, but it also teaches how to bend, how to sway, how to rise again. She looked at me with tears and a small spark of understanding. That is all it takes, a spark. One spark can ignite hope where you thought there was none. You will notice, my friend, that when fire comes, it is easy to want to fight it, to scream, to lash out, to blame the world. But the Zen way is to breathe. Observe. Allow the flames to dance around you without letting them scorch your soul. There is freedom in this. There is a soft, quiet strength in knowing that even when life burns, you are still here, and you are still capable of gentleness. I want you to imagine yourself as a tree in a storm, or as a river flowing through rocks. You do not resist the water, nor do you fight the wind. You move, you sway, you endure, and in doing so, you become stronger than you ever imagined. Fire will come. It will test you. It will try to shape you into someone hardened and bitter. But if you sit, breathe, and observe, you will be shaped instead into someone soft, wise, and unshakable. And remember, there is no shame in falling into the fire. There is no weakness in being afraid of it. Even the Buddha faced moments of despair and doubt. What matters is how you respond. Do you let the fire burn your heart into ashes? Or do you let it forge you into something more compassionate, more aware, more alive? The choice is always yours, but the most lasting strength comes from choosing the latter, over and over, every single day. So, my friend, when life turns up the heat, do not run. Do not fight. Sit with the flames, breathe deeply, and feel their lessons. Let your heart learn how to bend without breaking, how to glow without burning. Your comeback will not be loud. It will not announce itself. It will rise quietly, steadily, like the sun returning after a long night. And when it does, you will look back at the fire and smile, because it has taught you more than comfort ever could. And it has left you soft, alive, and unafraid, transforming pain into power through mindfulness. Ah, my dear friend, come sit a little closer and rest your heart here for a moment. You know, the world often teaches us to hide our pain, to bury it deep under layers of smiles, words, and distractions. People will say, "Move on, forget it, be strong." As if those words alone could heal the wounds that sit quietly in your chest. But listen, real strength, the kind that carries you through storms, does not come from ignoring your pain. It comes from understanding it. It comes from facing it with gentle eyes and letting it show you the hidden gifts it carries. Pain is not an enemy. It is a teacher waiting to be understood. I remember a young woman who came to me many years ago. Her life had been a cascade of losses. A job she loved that was suddenly gone, a friend who betrayed her, and a home that no longer felt safe. She came with tears that seemed endless, asking, "Master, why me? How do I survive when everything I care about keeps slipping away?" I asked her to sit with me in silence under the old oak tree behind the monastery. The wind moved gently, birds sang softly, and the world seemed to pause for us. And then I said, "Feel your pain fully. Let it speak. Don't run from it. When you do, you will see that pain is not here to destroy you. It is here to awaken something inside you you never knew existed." She looked at me with wide eyes, unsure. "Awaken? How can this pain awaken anything but sadness?" she whispered. And I smiled softly. "Ah, that is because you have been taught to fight it. You have been taught that pain is weakness. But in mindfulness, in true attention to your suffering, you find strength you never knew you had. Your pain becomes a mirror. It shows you what you hold too tightly, what you have denied, and what you can finally release. You see, pain teaches clarity. Pain teaches courage. Pain teaches presence. We sat together for hours, sometimes without a single word. I noticed how her shoulders, heavy with sorrow, began to relax ever so slightly. When she allowed herself to breathe through each memory, each ache, she began to notice small things. The sunlight touching the leaves above, the softness of the wind on her face, the gentle rhythm of her heartbeat. These small observations, simple as they are, became the bridge between suffering and understanding. Mindfulness does not take away the fire. It teaches you how to move through it without being consumed. You see, when you are in pain, your mind often runs ahead, imagining disasters, regrets, and fears. It keeps replaying moments that cannot be changed and invents stories that are not yet real. Mindfulness is the pause. It is the gentle hand that says, "Stop running. Sit with me. Notice what is really here, right now." When you practice this, you start to see that the ache in your chest is not the whole of you. It is a part of you, yes, but it is not all that you are. You are deeper than sorrow, more enduring than grief, more expansive than anger. There was a man who had failed in business. He lost everything he had built, and with it, his sense of identity. He came to me one evening, sitting on the cold stone floor, shaking. "Master," he said, "I am nothing now. I have no purpose." I did not offer him platitudes. Instead, I asked him to notice his breathing, to feel the ground beneath him, to hear the faint rustle of leaves outside. At first he resisted. "This will not bring back my money, my reputation," he muttered. And I replied softly, "Perhaps not, but it will bring you back to yourself." And from that place, all things become possible. Over time, as he practiced observing his thoughts and feelings without judgment, something remarkable happened. He began to see that the mistakes he made were not chains, but teachers. The losses he suffered were not punishments, but lessons in humility, patience, and resilience. Pain transformed from a source of despair into a source of insight. And with insight came power. Not the power to dominate or control, but the power to navigate life with clarity and courage. Mindfulness is not a quick fix. It does not erase scars overnight, but it allows the light to seep in slowly until you notice that even the deepest wounds are not hollow. They are spaces where strength can grow. Imagine a cracked pot, once discarded, now repaired with gold along its seams. The cracks do not hide the pot's flaws. They highlight the beauty of its endurance. Pain, when met with mindfulness, works in the same way. It does not vanish, but it becomes a part of you, transforming ordinary strength into quiet, unshakable power. In our monastery, we often walk in the garden, observing the growth of plants through each season. In spring, new buds push through soil that seemed lifeless just months ago. In summer, they flourish under the sun. In autumn, they shed their leaves, seemingly weak, but preparing for winter's rest. And in winter, the roots remain strong, waiting silently for the next season. Life, and your pain, flows in much the same way. Even in the moments of suffering, your roots are growing unseen, preparing you for new blossoms of wisdom and strength. I remember a time when I lost a close friend, someone who had shared decades of my life. The grief was like a storm raging inside me. I wandered the forest paths alone, thinking I would never find peace again. And yet, after long hours of sitting in silence and allowing the tears to flow, I began to notice small things: the whisper of the wind, the patterns of light on the forest floor, the rhythm of my own heartbeat. These small observations became anchors. They taught me that the pain was not all there was, and that within it, there was a doorway to understanding, to presence, and eventually to renewal. Your pain, too, holds these doorways. But you must be willing to sit, to observe, to meet it without resistance. Do not try to fix it too quickly. Do not judge yourself for feeling it so deeply. Allow it to exist, like a river flowing through your heart. Watch it, name it, breathe through it, and slowly, you will notice that the river carries nutrients along its path. Those nutrients are the lessons, the insights, the courage, and the compassion that grow inside you when you face suffering with awareness. There will be moments when mindfulness feels impossible, when the tears are too heavy, when anger rises like a storm, when fear threatens to swallow you whole. In those moments, my dear one, remember that the smallest act of noticing, a deep breath, a slow exhale, the awareness of your feet on the ground, is enough to begin. Mindfulness does not demand perfection. It simply asks you to be present. And presence, even in the midst of suffering, is transformative. I have seen countless students come and go, each carrying their own pain, their own fears, their own sense of loss. And I have watched them slowly turn that pain into power, not by running, not by resisting, but by attending to it with gentle attention. One student who had been betrayed in love found strength in helping others navigate heartbreak. Another, who had lost his health, discovered purpose in teaching meditation to those who were suffering. Pain, when observed with mindfulness, becomes a bridge, connecting you to your own heart and the hearts of others. And so, my dear friend, if you are carrying hurt today, do not fear it. Sit with it, breathe with it, notice it. Let it speak its truths to you. Allow yourself to feel without judgment, without shame. Watch the patterns of your mind as they rise and fall, like clouds moving across the sky. Notice how even the heaviest storm eventually passes, leaving behind clarity and light. Pain, when met with awareness, becomes power. It becomes wisdom. It becomes a quiet strength that no circumstance can take from you. The path is not easy. There will be setbacks. There will be moments when you feel nothing is changing. But remember this: transformation does not demand speed. It asks only for patience, attention, and gentle courage. Like water carving through stone, mindfulness gradually shapes your pain into understanding. Like the sun melting ice, presence slowly reveals the warmth beneath the cold, allowing your heart to bloom again. And one day, you will find yourself looking back at the struggles you endured, and you will smile softly. Not because the pain is gone, it will always leave its traces, but because you see how far you have come. You will notice that your heart, once fragile and heavy, has grown resilient, tender, and strong. Your pain, once feared, has become the source of your power, a quiet flame that lights your way and guides you forward with grace. The art of staying calm when the world doubts you. Ah, my dear friend, come, sit beside me for a while. Let us breathe together and talk quietly about something that touches every heart at some point. Staying calm when the world seems to doubt you. Have you noticed how heavy it feels when people around you question your choices, your dreams, even your very being? It is as if every word, every glance, every silence becomes a weight pressing against your chest. And in those moments, it is so tempting to fight, to shout, to prove yourself, isn't it? But let me tell you something softly, gently, as a friend, as someone who has seen many hearts struggle. Calmness is not weakness. Calmness is the quiet strength that carries you when the noise of the world is unbearable. Long ago, a young man came to me, his eyes restless and his hands shaking. He had been mocked at work, doubted by his friends, and even his own family questioned his path. "Master," he said, "I feel invisible. I feel like the world is laughing at me, and I don't know how to hold myself anymore." I smiled gently, because I had seen this before. I said, "Ah, my dear one, do you know what happens when a tree is struck by strong wind? It bends, but it does not break. Its leaves may fall, its branches may sway, but the trunk remains. Calmness is like the trunk. You may feel pressure from all sides, but if you hold your center, you will remain standing." He frowned a little, unconvinced. "But Master, what if I sway too much? What if I fall?" And I looked at him kindly, saying, "Falling is part of the journey. Falling does not mean you are weak. Falling teaches you where your roots are not yet deep enough, where your heart still needs care. Calmness is not the absence of storms. It is the willingness to sit quietly in the middle of them, noticing their rhythm and learning from them without losing yourself." We sat together in silence for a long time, listening to the wind brushing the trees, to the distant call of birds, to the soft rustle of leaves on the ground. I asked him to close his eyes and feel his breath, to notice how it moved in and out of his body. "The world may doubt you," I said softly, "but your breath is yours. The world cannot touch it. Your calm is yours. Your peace is yours. Hold that first, and the rest becomes lighter." Slowly, as the minutes passed, I noticed his shoulders relax, his hands unclench. Even the smallest shift in the body can remind the mind that calmness is possible, even when doubts swirl like a storm around you. There was a woman once who had dedicated her life to helping others, only to have everyone around her question her intentions. They whispered that she was selfish, that she was seeking recognition, that her efforts were meaningless. She came to me, tears streaming silently down her cheeks, asking, "Master, how do I keep my heart open when everyone thinks I am wrong?" I told her, "Imagine a river flowing gently. It does not stop because stones lie in its path. It does not complain when leaves fall upon it. It simply flows. Let your heart be like that river. Flow with compassion, with purpose, with calmness, regardless of what others say. The world's judgment is not the measure of your truth. Calmness is a practice, my dear one. It is not a state that comes once and stays forever. Each day will bring new storms, new doubts, new voices questioning your path. But each day also offers a chance to return to your center, to breathe, to observe, to let the noise pass like clouds drifting across the sky. People's doubts are like passing weather. Your calm is the mountain that stands through all seasons. The mountain does not argue with the wind. It does not try to push the clouds away. It simply stands, grounded, enduring, observing. I remember a man who had been betrayed by his closest friend. The betrayal shook his trust in the world, and he felt an urge to retaliate, to shout, to prove himself. I said to him, "The world may push you, strike you, betray you, but you have a choice. You can react with fire, or you can respond with calm. Calm does not mean you accept injustice blindly. Calm means you hold your mind steady, so that when action is required, it is taken with clarity and wisdom, not anger." Over time, he learned this. He did not forget the betrayal, but he stopped letting it control him. He became gentle, deliberate, thoughtful. And in that, his power grew far more than any outburst could have given him. When the world doubts you, the temptation to argue, to fight, to scream is immense. But argument often feeds the very chaos you want to escape. Calmness, instead, creates space. It allows clarity to emerge. It allows you to see not just the voices of doubt outside, but the quiet voice of truth inside. And when you respond from that place, you act not from reaction, but from wisdom. People may continue to doubt you. They may misunderstand you, but your heart remains untouched, anchored in its own center. A long time ago, a teacher told me that the greatest victory is the one unseen by others. It is not in proving yourself. It is not in winning arguments or gaining recognition. It is in remaining steady when everything around you shakes. The world can doubt you endlessly, but the power of calm, the strength of a peaceful heart, cannot be taken away. You cultivate it in quiet moments, in silent breaths, in the gentle awareness of your own being. That is how the seeds of resilience grow, slowly, quietly, but unshakably. I have seen students practice calmness in many ways. One would walk slowly through the garden, noticing every leaf, every stone, every sound. Another would focus on the rhythm of their breath for hours, letting doubts float past like clouds. Yet another would write their thoughts, allowing fear and confusion to pour onto paper, and then set it aside with a gentle nod. Each of these acts, simple as they may seem, builds the inner fortress that protects you from the storms outside. There will be times when calm feels impossible, when voices around you are loud, when criticism pierces like arrows, when your own mind joins the chorus of doubt. In these moments, do not despair. Return to the smallest anchor you can find. Your breath, a step, a gentle observation of the world. Calmness is not an achievement. It is a practice, a return, a steadying of the heart again and again. Even the Buddha himself sat in silence, feeling doubt, pain, and fear. He did not run from them. He observed them. He breathed through them. And from that space, understanding and strength arose. Imagine a tree standing alone in the wind. The gusts push its branches in every direction. Some leaves fall, some twigs snap. And yet, the trunk remains rooted. This tree does not fight the wind. It moves with it, bends when it must, and holds firm where it matters. You are like that tree. The world's doubts are the wind. They may rattle you, they may shake you, but if your roots are deep, your calm is steady, you will remain unbroken. I want you to picture yourself walking through a busy street, people questioning your choices, whispering their doubts, and yet your heart remains like a quiet lake. The surface may ripple, yes, but the depth is untouched. That depth is your center, your sanctuary, your strength. The world may shout, but your calm speaks louder, not in sound, but in presence. It is a presence that cannot be shaken, cannot be stolen, cannot be questioned. Remember, my friend, calmness is not passive. It is not giving up. It is not indifference. Calmness is the active choice to observe, to respond, to carry yourself with dignity and awareness, even when the world doubts your worth. It is the gentle power that heals your heart, clarifies your mind, and steadies your spirit. And when you cultivate it, even the fiercest doubts around you lose their power over you. There will be moments when you stumble, when you lash out, when doubt creeps into your heart. That is natural. Calmness is not perfection. It is persistence. Each time you return to your center, each time you take a deep breath, each time you notice the quiet before the storm, you build a resilience that no outside voice can undo. This resilience is your true comeback, your quiet strength, your living proof that the world's doubts do not define you. And so, my dear one, practice this art. Return to your breath. Observe the world without losing yourself. Let criticism pass like leaves on a river. Let misunderstanding float by like clouds in the sky. Hold your heart steady, even when the world shakes. And know this, your calm is a sanctuary, a fortress, a quiet victory that the noise of the world cannot touch. Embracing setbacks as stepping stones. Ah, my dear friend, come, sit beside me a little while and breathe. Let us talk gently about setbacks, those moments when life seems to push us down, when the ground beneath our feet feels shaky and the path ahead disappears in fog. You know, it is easy to look at setbacks and feel defeated, isn't it? To see them as failures, as punishment, as proof that you are not enough. But listen closely, softly, with your whole heart. Setbacks are not the enemy. They are teachers, disguised in difficult clothes, offering lessons that only those who pause, observe, and breathe can truly understand. I remember a young man who came to me, walking slowly, dragging his feet like the weight of the world rested on them. His business had failed, the investment of years had turned into nothing, and he felt ashamed, embarrassed, as if the world was laughing at him. "Master," he said quietly, almost whispering, "I tried my best, but still I failed. I feel useless." I smiled softly, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Ah, my friend, do you know how rivers carve valleys? They do not do it in a day. They flow, sometimes slowly, sometimes through obstacles, sometimes over rocks and fallen trees. Each drop that hits the stone, each curve around a boulder, shapes the path of the river. Your setbacks are like those stones. They do not stop you. They shape you slowly, steadily, in ways you will only see much later." He looked at me with puzzled eyes. "But Master, I don't feel shaped. I feel broken." I nodded, because I had seen this feeling many times. "Yes," I said, "at first, setbacks feel like breaking. That is natural. Your mind wants to resist, to fight, to push the world away. But resistance is like holding your hands against the river's current. You will tire quickly. Instead, learn to flow with the lessons hidden in the setback. Notice them, feel them, let them pass through you. Only then will you see the true shaping happening beneath your awareness." There was a woman once who had been betrayed by a friend she loved dearly. She came to me, eyes red from crying, voice trembling, heart heavy with disappointment. "Master," she said, "I trusted her. I believed in her. And now, everything is gone. How do I trust again? How do I move forward?" I asked her to sit with me under the cherry tree, to close her eyes, to feel her breath. "Friendship is like a tree," I said gently. "Sometimes storms will break branches. Some may never grow again, but the roots remain. And from those roots, new branches will grow, stronger and wiser. The setback is the storm. The loss is the broken branch. But your heart, like the roots, remains, and it will support new growth if you allow it. Setbacks are uncomfortable, yes, and sometimes they sting more than we expect. But often, they reveal what we could not see before. They show us weaknesses we might have ignored, habits that no longer serve us, patterns of thought that keep us small. And when we face them with awareness, when we do not run, when we do not blame ourselves endlessly, something remarkable happens. The heart begins to expand. The mind begins to clarify. And slowly, quietly, strength grows where there was once only despair. I remember another student who had failed an important examination, one that determined his career path. He came to me filled with shame and anger at himself. He said, "Master, I worked so hard, yet I failed. How do I keep going when life seems unfair?" I told him, "Imagine walking on a mountain trail. Sometimes you slip. Sometimes the path crumbles under your foot. Sometimes rocks block your way. Do you stop walking forever? No. You adjust. You find another path. You learn where to step next. Failure is just a rock on your trail. Step carefully. Learn its shape. And then continue. The trail is still yours to walk." Setbacks also teach patience. We live in a world that celebrates instant success, quick rewards, fast recognition. But life, my friend, is not a fast river. It is slow, winding, sometimes obstructed, sometimes flowing gently over smooth stones. Setbacks remind us that we are human, that growth takes time, and that each stumble is part of the journey. The river does not rush to the ocean. It moves at its own pace, and each twist and turn makes its waters stronger, deeper, and more resilient. I have watched many who faced heartbreak, loss, financial ruin, or failed ambitions, and yet, after years, they became the most grounded, compassionate, and wise people I knew. They did not rush past the pain. They did not deny the setback. They observed it, accepted it, and allowed it to teach them. Their comebacks were quiet, steady, and unshakable, built on lessons no success alone could provide. Imagine a tree that has lost many leaves in autumn. The bare branches may look fragile, even empty, but beneath, the roots are storing nutrients, preparing for the spring. The setback is autumn. The roots of your heart, the quiet resilience you cultivate, are nourished even in the absence of leaves. And when the right time comes, new leaves will grow, stronger and more vibrant than before. This is how life works, my dear friend. Setbacks are not the end. They are preparation, a quiet shaping of who you are meant to become. When you face a setback, do not shrink. Do not hide. Do not drown in shame. Instead, breathe. Sit with it. Feel its lessons. Ask yourself, what does this moment teach me? What patterns am I holding that need attention? What courage is waiting inside me to rise? These questions, asked with honesty and gentleness, turn obstacles into stepping stones, failures into lessons, and heartbreak into wisdom. I remember a man who had invested everything in a dream, only to have it collapse suddenly. He came to me, despondent, asking how he could rebuild. I told him, begin by seeing clearly what remains. Notice the skills, the strength, the love, the courage you still carry. Setbacks do not erase these. They challenge you to use them differently, to apply them with insight. You cannot change the past, but you can shape what comes next. And slowly, as he listened to the quiet of his own heart, he began to see possibilities he had not imagined before. Setbacks are teachers because they reveal truth. They show us what we are truly capable of enduring. They reveal our hidden reserves of patience, creativity, resilience, and courage. And when you embrace them with mindfulness, when you welcome the discomfort instead of fleeing, you find that what once seemed like failure is actually an awakening. Each setback becomes a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. Each obstacle becomes a teacher, not a jailer. Life will always present moments that test you, moments when the world seems to conspire against your peace, when your plans unravel, when your heart breaks. But do not fear these moments. Do not resist them with anger or despair. Instead, practice the gentle art of noticing. Observe what arises inside you. Feel it, breathe through it, and allow it to teach you. The setbacks you encounter are shaping you into a person who can move through life with courage, patience, and deep wisdom. A person who knows that the fire of difficulty can forge the strongest steel. And one day, when you look back at the times you stumbled, the times you failed, the times you felt lost and unsure, you will smile quietly to yourself. Not because those moments were easy, but because you see how far you have come, how each setback, each hardship, each fall has built a foundation of strength, resilience, and wisdom inside you that nothing in the world can take away. You will see that setbacks were not obstacles at all. They were guides, quietly shaping you for the journey ahead, showing you that the heart that endures is the heart that truly rises. Cultivating patience in the midst of struggle. Ah, my dear friend, come sit with me under the quiet shade of this old tree, and let us speak gently about something that touches all hearts: patience. You know, life often moves in ways we do not expect, and our plans, our dreams, sometimes seem to crumble in front of our very eyes. It is easy, very easy, to feel frustrated, to want to rush, to demand that the world move according to our wishes. But listen softly and breathe with me. Patience is not waiting. It is a gentle art of understanding the rhythm of life, a quiet trust in the unfolding of things, even when it feels slow, even when the heart aches. I remember a young woman who came to me, carrying a burden too heavy for her shoulders. She had worked tirelessly for years to achieve a goal, and yet, despite her efforts, the doors remained closed. "Master," she said, her voice trembling, "I don't understand. I have tried everything, but nothing seems to work. How long must I wait?" I smiled softly and said, "Ah, my dear one, have you ever watched a seed in the soil? You water it, care for it, and yet nothing seems to happen. And then one morning, a small green sprout appears. The seed was growing all along unseen. Patience is like tending that seed. You care, you nurture, and even when it feels nothing is happening, transformation is quietly occurring." She looked at me with doubt in her eyes. "But Master, I feel like I am stuck. I feel like the world is moving, and I am left behind." I nodded, because I had felt this too. "Yes," I said gently, "the feeling of being stuck is natural. But remember, life is not a race. The world may seem to move faster, but your journey unfolds at its own pace. Patience is learning to breathe through the moments of stillness, to trust that your effort, your heart, your care is planting seeds that will bloom when the time is right. It is in these quiet moments that resilience is born. There was a man once who had faced repeated failures in his personal life. Relationships that began with hope ended in heartbreak, and he began to fear that he would never find peace or happiness. He came to me, sitting on the cold stone floor of the monastery, asking, "Master, why must life be so cruel? I try, but I always fail. How do I keep going?" I asked him to close his eyes, to feel the gentle rise and fall of his breath. "Patience is not about enduring suffering passively," I said softly. "It is about allowing life to unfold, learning from each moment, and trusting that your heart, when steady, will guide you through. Even failure is a teacher, if you attend to it gently, without rushing past its lessons." I shared with him a story from the mountains. There is a cliff, jagged and steep, that many travelers avoid because the path seems impossible. Yet, those who climb it slowly, step by careful step, eventually reach a summit with a view that is beyond imagination. If they rush, if they grow impatient, they fall, or they give up, missing the view entirely. Life is like that cliff. The struggles, the delays, the repeated efforts, they are the path. Patience is learning to move carefully, steadily, with awareness, until you arrive at the summit of understanding. Patience also teaches humility. When we demand instant results, when we become frustrated with delays, we forget the subtle workings of life, the quiet transformations that happen beneath the surface. A river does not carve a valley in a day. It moves slowly, persistently, around obstacles, over stones, through seasons of drought and flood. And in its own time, it creates something extraordinary. Similarly, our patience allows our own hearts to carve paths of wisdom and strength that impatience could never achieve. I remember a student who had been rejected many times in his attempts to pursue a career he loved. Each rejection pierced him like a cold wind, and he came to me, shoulders slumped, voice heavy with despair. I asked him, "Have you noticed the trees in winter?" He looked puzzled. "In winter?" he said. "Yes," I replied gently. They appear bare, lifeless, frozen. And yet, inside, life is preparing for spring. The branches may look empty, but the roots are nurturing new growth. Patience is like winter. Your efforts, your dreams, your heart, they are quietly preparing, even when it seems nothing is happening. In moments of struggle, patience is your sanctuary. It allows you to breathe, to notice, to rest without giving up. It teaches you to see beyond immediate discomfort, to hold your heart steady when emotions rise like waves. And when you cultivate patience, you begin to notice subtleties in life that were invisible before. The quiet lessons in each failure, the small joys that sustain the heart, the gentle ways the universe responds when we wait with presence. There is a man who had been waiting for years for his health to return after a serious illness. Each day brought frustration, impatience, and fear. He came to me, asking if there was a way to make the waiting easier. I told him, patience is not forgetting your suffering. It is sitting with it, noticing it, and breathing through it. Each breath carries strength. Each moment of awareness builds resilience. The waiting is not wasted. It is the teacher that allows your heart and body to heal at their own pace. Slowly, over months, he learned to observe his own journey without demanding immediate results. And in that observation, he found a quiet power he had never known. Patience is not passive resignation. It is an active practice of the heart, a gentle discipline of the mind. It asks you to notice the present moment fully, to trust that the steps you take, however small, are meaningful. When you cultivate patience, you find that even the longest struggles do not break you. Instead, they shape you. They deepen you. They teach you to hold life gently, without grasping or pushing too hard. I have seen countless students practice patience in different ways. Some through meditation, others through walking slowly, some through journaling, and yet others through deep reflection. Each method, unique as it is, cultivates the same essence. A heart that does not flinch in the face of difficulty, a mind that observes without rushing, a spirit that trusts in the unfolding of life. Even the smallest acts of patience carry immense power. Sitting quietly through a moment of discomfort, resisting the urge to react impulsively, breathing through frustration. These are all exercises of patience. They build strength, clarity, and compassion that ripple outward into all areas of life. Patience allows you to move through the world gently, without being tossed about by every challenge, criticism, or setback. I want you to imagine walking through a field during a soft rain. Each drop falls slowly, soaking the soil, nourishing seeds beneath the surface. You cannot hurry the rain. You cannot force the seeds to grow faster. You simply observe, you walk gently, you notice the small signs of life emerging. Patience in life is like walking in that rain. You nurture, you care, you observe, and in time growth appears. Not hurried, not forced, but natural, steady, and strong. Patience also teaches compassion. When you are patient with your own struggles, you begin to understand the struggles of others. You realize that everyone is moving through their own storms, their own delays, their own moments of waiting. And with that understanding comes kindness, gentle words, and tender actions. Patience opens the heart not only to life's timing, but also to the humanity of others. Even when it feels like life is stagnant, even when doubts and fears press upon you, patience is the quiet anchor that keeps you steady. It allows you to see clearly, to act wisely, to endure without losing your heart. And with each moment of practiced patience, you grow more resilient, more grounded, more capable of navigating life's complexities with grace. So, my dear friend, practice patience as a gentle art. Return to your breath when impatience rises. Observe the small steps, the subtle changes, the quiet rhythms of life. Trust that your efforts, even when invisible, are shaping your heart, your mind, and your life. Know that patience is not waiting for life to be easy, but learning to hold your center, to move steadily, to embrace the unfolding journey with presence, awareness, and gentle trust. Finding strength in stillness. Ah, my dear friend, come. Sit with me for a while beneath this quiet sky. Let us talk about something very simple, yet very profound. The strength that lies in stillness. You know, in our busy lives, we often forget the power of just being. We rush, we worry, we try to fix everything at once. And in that rush, we lose touch with the calm within us. But stillness is not emptiness. It is not weakness. It is a quiet, steady power, like the roots of an ancient tree holding firm while the winds howl around it. I remember a young man who came to me, exhausted, restless, eyes red from sleepless nights. He had tried to control everything: his work, his relationships, even his thoughts. Nothing seemed to go right, and he said to me softly, almost in a whisper, "Master, I feel like I am drowning. Life is too fast, and I can't catch up." I nodded gently, because I had seen this before so many times. "Ah," I said, "my dear one, have you ever watched a pond in the morning before the wind comes? The water is still, reflecting the sky and the trees. That pond does nothing, yet it shows everything clearly. Stillness is like that pond. When you stop moving so fast, when you stop pushing, you begin to see clearly. The answers, the peace, the strength you seek, they are already there." He looked at me confused. "But Master, if I do nothing, how will things change? How will I move forward?" I smiled softly. "Stillness is not doing nothing," I said. "It is doing what matters most. It is observing your mind, listening to your heart, and letting life settle within you. From this place, your actions will come naturally, like a river finding its course. When the water is calm, it flows more freely, more wisely, than when it is turbulent. Stillness is preparation, not stagnation." There was a woman who had suffered many disappointments. She had given her love, her time, her effort, and felt that the world had taken too much. She came to me, eyes downcast, shoulders heavy with sorrow, and said, "Master, I am tired. I do not know how to continue. How can I find strength again?" I told her to sit beside me in silence, to close her eyes, and to feel her breath moving slowly in and out. "My dear one," I said, "strength is not always in action. Sometimes it is in the quiet, in the pause, in the breath. When you allow yourself to be still, you connect with a deeper part of yourself that has always been strong, always been steady, always been capable of rising again. The world's chaos cannot touch that inner strength if you return to it often. I have seen people try to force progress, to rush through pain, to escape from difficulties, only to find themselves more exhausted, more scattered, more lost. But those who embrace stillness, who allow themselves to rest in the present, find that clarity arises like sunlight through mist. They see solutions, understand situations more deeply, and find courage they did not know they had. Stillness sharpens the mind and fortifies the heart without struggle. Once, a man who had been betrayed by his business partner came to me, frustrated and angry. He wanted to react, to fight, to reclaim what he thought was taken, but his mind was clouded with fury. I said to him, "Sit with the storm inside you. Breathe with it. Do not run. Do not fight. Let the anger pass through you, like wind through the trees. In stillness, you will see clearly what must be done, what can be forgiven, what deserves attention. Action from calm is far stronger than action from rage." And slowly, as he practiced this, he found not only solutions but also peace, and his decisions carried wisdom rather than impulse. Stillness also teaches patience. When we are constantly moving, we demand instant results, quick fixes, fast recognition. But the world, like nature, has its own timing. A seed does not sprout immediately. A river does not carve a canyon in a day. Your growth, your understanding, your transformation, they all unfold slowly. Stillness allows you to honor this rhythm, to move in harmony with life, rather than against it. It is in quiet observation that patience is nurtured, and with patience, resilience grows. I recall a student who struggled with fear of failure. Every step he took felt uncertain. Every decision was met with doubt. He came to me asking, "Master, how can I be brave when I am always afraid?" I guided him to sit in silence, to notice the thoughts in his mind without judgment, to feel the beat of his heart, the rise and fall of his breath. Courage is not the absence of fear, I said. It is stillness in the presence of fear. When you sit quietly with what frightens you, when you observe it rather than fight it, your heart finds strength naturally. Action arises from calm, not panic. That is true bravery. Stillness is also deeply connected to presence. When your mind is constantly racing, you miss the beauty and the lessons around you. The wind in the trees, the laughter of a child, the warmth of sunlight, all pass unnoticed. But when you cultivate stillness, you notice life. You become fully present. You begin to see the richness in ordinary moments, the subtle teachings in simple experiences, the gentle guidance of your own heart. Presence and stillness are inseparable. There was a woman who had faced years of disappointment in her career. She had pushed, struggled, and yet her efforts seemed unnoticed. She felt despair creeping in, but I invited her to sit quietly, to let her mind rest. In stillness, I said, you find clarity. You may see paths you could not see before, opportunities hidden by noise, and strength you did not know you had. Stillness is the mirror in which your heart sees itself clearly. From there, you can act with purpose, not from desperation, but from insight. Even in the most turbulent times, stillness remains a refuge. Imagine a storm at sea, waves crashing violently, wind howling, and yet, in the eye of the storm, there is a calm. That calm is not absence of danger. It is stillness within the chaos. So too with your heart. When everything seems to fall apart, when doubt and fear press hard, return to the stillness inside. Breathe, observe, trust. The calm within you is unshakable, even when the world is in turmoil. I want you to picture a quiet mountain lake at dawn. The water reflects the sky perfectly, without disturbance, without effort. That reflection is your heart when it finds stillness. The world may rush and rage, storms may come, yet beneath it all, there is a space of clarity, of strength, of gentle understanding. That is your sanctuary, always available, always steady, if you simply return to it. Stillness also brings awareness. When you pause, when you sit quietly, you notice patterns in your mind, reactions in your heart, and hidden fears or desires. Awareness grows naturally from stillness. And with awareness, wisdom grows. You begin to understand not only yourself more deeply, but also the world around you. And your actions become more harmonious, more thoughtful, more powerful. Even the smallest moments of stillness are powerful. Sitting quietly for a few breaths, observing your surroundings, letting thoughts drift like clouds. These are exercises of strength. Each time you practice, you nurture a mind that does not react impulsively, a heart that does not tremble under every disturbance, a spirit that is steady even in difficulty. This is the strength of stillness. I have seen students, burdened by doubt and fear, gradually transform through the practice of stillness. They do not become passive or indifferent. Rather, they become grounded, thoughtful, and resilient. Their hearts find balance, their minds clarity, and their spirits courage. In stillness, the noisy world loses its power to disturb the peace that comes from deep within. So, my dear friend, embrace stillness. Return to your breath. Notice the gentle rise and fall of life within you. Sit quietly when the world rushes. Observe without judgment. Breathe without hurry. And trust that in these quiet moments, strength is born. Strength that is steady, gentle, unshakable, and enduring. In stillness, you find your true center. And from that center, you can face anything, transforming pain into power. Ah, my dear friend, come sit closer and let us speak quietly about something that touches every human heart. Pain. You know, pain comes in many forms. Sometimes it is sudden, sharp, like the sting of a cold wind on bare skin. Sometimes it is slow, heavy, like a rain that never seems to stop. And often, we resist it. We try to push it away, to ignore it, to pretend it does not exist. But listen softly and breathe with me. Pain, when faced with awareness and care, can become a teacher, a guide, a source of strength that you never imagined. I remember a young man who had been betrayed by someone he trusted deeply. The betrayal tore through him like fire through dry grass. He came to me, eyes red, hands trembling, voice broken. "Master," he whispered, "I don't know if I can trust again. I feel so weak, so lost." I placed a gentle hand on his shoulder and said, "Ah, my friend, pain is not the enemy. It is a mirror. It reflects what is hidden in the heart, what is tender, what needs attention. When you look into this mirror, you see not only hurt, but also your capacity to endure, to heal, to rise again. Pain is the teacher that shows you your own strength." He looked at me, uncertain. "But Master, it hurts so much. I feel broken." I nodded softly, because I had seen this many times. "Yes," I said. "Pain often feels unbearable. It breaks the old patterns, the illusions, the habits that no longer serve you. In that breaking, something new can grow. The cracks in the heart let light enter. If you lean into the pain gently, observe it without resisting, it will transform into understanding, courage, and resilience. What feels like destruction is often preparation for renewal." There was a woman who had lost someone she loved dearly. Her days were filled with emptiness, nights with tears. She came to me, her voice soft and trembling. "Master, I don't know how to go on. How can I find joy again?" I asked her to sit beside me by the river and feel the water's gentle flow. "My dear one," I said, "grief is like this river. It moves, it flows, it carves its way through your heart. You cannot stop it, you cannot rush it, you cannot ignore it. And yet, the river also carries life, nourishment, and renewal. Your pain, like the river, can shape you. It can carve paths of empathy, wisdom, and compassion. From this sorrow, your heart can grow stronger and deeper." I remember another student who had faced repeated failures in his career. Each rejection felt like a sharp stone pressing into his chest, leaving him breathless with frustration and fear. He came to me asking, "Master, why does it always happen to me? Why can't I succeed?" I told him, "Pain is not punishment, my friend. It is a guide. Each failure is like a stone on your path. You can stumble, you can cry, you can rest. And when you rise again, Each step is stronger, steadier, wiser. Pain teaches you what perseverance truly is. It shows you what you value, what matters to your heart. Do not fear it. Learn from it. Pain is transformative because it awakens awareness. When you feel it fully, without distraction or denial, you begin to see the hidden patterns in your mind and heart. You notice how you have been avoiding certain truths, how you have been clinging to illusions or attachments. Pain exposes these things gently, like a candle illuminating a dark room. And when you see clearly, you can make conscious choices, heal old wounds, and live more authentically. There was a man who had carried guilt for many years, blaming himself for mistakes he could not undo. The weight of regret pressed heavily on him, and he came to me, asking if he would ever be free. I said, "Pain is like a teacher who sits quietly beside you, pointing out what needs attention. Guilt can be transformed into understanding and care. When you face it without denial, without blaming yourself endlessly, you begin to untangle the knots. Your heart becomes lighter, your mind clearer. Pain is the key that unlocks the doors you thought were closed forever. Even physical pain can teach this lesson. I have seen people who suffered illness or injury, whose bodies felt limited, yet their spirits grew vast. They learned patience, compassion for themselves, and empathy for others. They discovered that strength is not only in the body, but in the heart and mind. The discomfort became a teacher, showing them the depth of their endurance and the capacity to find peace even amidst suffering. Pain also cultivates humility. When we are comfortable and untouched, it is easy to feel entitled, to expect life to be easy. But when pain visits, we are reminded that life is fragile, fleeting, and uncertain. This humility opens the heart to connection, to kindness, to understanding the struggles of others. A heart that has experienced pain can offer comfort in ways that a heart untouched by suffering cannot. I remember a woman who had been rejected in love repeatedly. Each heartbreak left a mark, each disappointment a bruise. She came to me, asking how to trust again. I told her, "Pain has softened your heart, not weakened it. It has taught you discernment, resilience, and self-understanding. When love comes again, you will approach it with wisdom and compassion, rather than fear or desperation. Pain, my dear, has prepared you to love more deeply, more fully, more wisely." Pain also teaches presence. When you feel it fully, you cannot escape the moment. The mind stops wandering to illusions or distractions. You are here, alive, aware, feeling. In this awareness, transformation begins. You notice the subtle lessons, the small blessings, the quiet strength within. Pain brings you fully into life, even when it feels unbearable, even when the heart aches. I once guided a student who struggled with anger and resentment toward those who had wronged him. The fire in his heart made life bitter and exhausting. I told him, "Sit with the discomfort. Feel the anger without acting on it. Observe it, breathe through it." Pain and anger are powerful teachers. They reveal what matters to you, what wounds are still tender. If you resist, you are consumed. If you observe, you gain insight. You transform the energy into understanding and clarity. Slowly, as he practiced this, his heart softened and his mind grew quiet. Pain is not a permanent state. It is a visitor, a messenger, a guide. And when you embrace it with mindfulness, it can awaken courage, wisdom, patience, and compassion. The heart that endures pain with awareness becomes unshakable. The mind that observes pain without panic becomes clear. And the spirit that welcomes pain with trust becomes free. Even in the darkest nights of suffering, there is light. Like the moon emerging from clouds, clarity and strength can appear when we least expect. Pain can be the spark that awakens your inner resilience, the hammer that shapes your heart, the river that carves the canyon of your courage. You will find, in time, that the pain you once feared becomes the very source of your power. So, my dear friend, do not fear pain. Do not flee from it. Sit with it. Breathe through it. Listen to what it teaches. Let it soften, shape, and strengthen your heart. Allow the lessons to flow quietly into your awareness. Transform the hurt into understanding, the sorrow into wisdom, the struggle into courage. In this way, pain becomes not something to escape, but a path, a guide, and a source of profound, gentle strength. Pain also cultivates humility. When we are comfortable and untouched, it is easy to feel entitled, to expect life to be easy. But when pain visits, we are reminded that life is fragile, fleeting, and uncertain. This humility opens the heart to connection, to kindness, to understanding the struggles of others. A heart that has experienced pain can offer comfort in ways that a heart untouched by suffering cannot. I remember a woman who had been rejected in love repeatedly. Each heartbreak left a mark, each disappointment a bruise. She came to me, asking how to trust again. I told her, pain has softened your heart, not weakened it. It has taught you discernment, resilience, and self-understanding. When love comes again, you will approach it with wisdom and compassion, rather than fear or desperation. Pain, my dear, has prepared you to love more deeply, more fully, more wisely. Pain also teaches presence. When you feel it fully, you cannot escape the moment. The mind stops wandering to illusions or distractions. You are here, alive, aware, feeling. In this awareness, transformation begins. You notice the subtle lessons, the small blessings, the quiet strength within. Pain brings you fully into life, even when it feels unbearable, even when the heart aches. I once guided a student who struggled with anger and resentment toward those who had wronged him. The fire in his heart made life bitter and exhausting. I told him, sit with the discomfort. Feel the anger without acting on it. Observe it, breathe through it. Pain and anger are powerful teachers. They reveal what matters to you, what wounds are still tender. If you resist, you are consumed. If you observe, you gain insight. You transform the energy into understanding and clarity. Slowly, as he practiced this, his heart softened and his mind grew quiet. Pain is not a permanent state. It is a visitor, a messenger, a guide. And when you embrace it with mindfulness, it can awaken courage, wisdom, patience, and compassion. The heart that endures pain with awareness becomes unshakable. The mind that observes pain without panic becomes clear. And the spirit that welcomes pain with trust becomes free. Even in the darkest nights of suffering, there is light. Like the moon emerging from clouds, clarity and strength can appear when we least expect. Pain can be the spark that awakens your inner resilience, the hammer that shapes your heart, the river that carves the canyon of your courage. You will find, in time, that the pain you once feared becomes the very source of your power. So, my dear friend, do not fear pain. Do not flee from it. Sit with it. Breathe through it. Listen to what it teaches. Let it soften, shape, and strengthen your heart. Allow the lessons to flow quietly into your awareness. Transform the hurt into understanding, the sorrow into wisdom, the struggle into courage. In this way, pain becomes not something to escape, but a path, a guide, and a source of profound, gentle strength. Ah, my dear friend, let us sit a while and talk about something that the world often forgets: Patience. In our hearts, we often want things quickly. We want answers, success, love, peace, and happiness to arrive immediately, like a visitor knocking at the door. But life, as you may have noticed, rarely works this way. It moves slowly, quietly, sometimes imperceptibly, and in its own mysterious rhythm. And yet, if we learn patience, if we embrace it as a quiet friend rather than a burden, we discover a strength that is deep, enduring, and unshakable. I remember a young man who came to me in great frustration. He had been working on a project for many years, putting in effort day after day, and yet the results seemed small, almost invisible. He said to me, voice tight with worry, "Master, I've tried so hard, but nothing seems to change. How can I keep going?" I smiled gently and said, my friend, patience is not about waiting without purpose. Patience is about understanding the rhythm of life, about allowing your efforts to mature and your growth to unfold naturally. Seeds do not sprout immediately after planting, yet they grow quietly beneath the soil. So too with your work and your heart. Trust the process. He frowned, a little confused. But Master, it feels like I am wasting my time. I nodded softly. But in patience there is no waste. Every moment you spend learning, every small step you take, every effort you make, these are the foundations of your strength. Impatience only brings frustration, anxiety, and distraction. Patience, like water, flows quietly and steadily, shaping your life gently, often unseen, yet profoundly effective. I have seen people who struggle with anger, who feel life is moving too slowly for their desires. They rush, push, force, and resist, yet the results they seek often drift further away. Patience is the art of flowing with life rather than against it. It teaches us to breathe, to observe, to move with awareness. When you practice patience, you are not giving up. You are preparing, growing, and strengthening your mind and heart for the moments when action is truly needed. There was a woman who came to me, distressed by the illness of a loved one. She had tried everything, sought help from everywhere, and yet nothing seemed to improve. She cried, "Master, I cannot endure this waiting. How can I bear it?" I asked her to sit beside me by the river, to feel the water moving, to watch the clouds drifting slowly across the sky. "Do you see, my dear?" I whispered. "The river does not rush, yet it carves valleys. The clouds move slowly, yet they bring rain that nourishes the earth. In patience, there is movement, there is progress, even when it feels invisible. Trust the quiet unfolding of life." I remember guiding a young man who had failed in love many times. Each heartbreak left him anxious and restless, seeking answers, seeking closure, seeking immediate comfort. I told him, patience is the silent strength of the heart. Do not hurry the healing. Do not force the feelings to resolve before they are ready. When you allow your heart to mend slowly, to breathe, to understand, you find that it grows stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. The wounds that seem unbearable today are the teachers of tomorrow's courage. Patience is not passive. It is alive, conscious, and intentional. It is the awareness that life cannot be rushed, that growth takes time, and that every experience, no matter how small or slow, contributes to the unfolding of your path. I have seen students who sit quietly with patience, observing each day, each moment, each breath, and in doing so, they become masters of their own minds. Their hearts become calm, steady, and luminous. Even the most difficult challenges are softened by patience. When adversity strikes, when life feels heavy, patience allows the mind to breathe. It provides space to see clearly, to respond wisely, to act without haste or panic. A heart that is impatient reacts. A heart that is patient observes, understands, and chooses. In this choice lies freedom. I have met people who live in cities that move faster than their hearts can follow. They become restless, anxious, desperate for the next thing. I tell them, slow down. Notice the steps you take. Feel the earth beneath your feet. Patience is not about stopping life. It is about aligning your rhythm with the natural flow. When you move with patience, even the busiest life becomes harmonious. Even the most chaotic moments find balance. Patience also teaches humility. When we cannot control time, when events unfold beyond our wishes, we learn that we are not masters of all. We learn to accept what is, to trust what we do not see, to have faith in the unseen processes of life. This humility softens the heart, opens the mind, and allows compassion to arise. Through patience, we connect more deeply with ourselves and with others. I remember a woman who had waited for many years for a child. Her heart was heavy with longing, her spirit worn by the waiting. She came to me, asking how to endure. I told her, patience is not about inaction. It is about presence. Be present with your longing, acknowledge it, nurture it, and allow life to move at its pace. In time, the possibilities will reveal themselves. Your heart, strengthened by patience, will embrace joy more fully when it arrives. Patience is also the teacher of resilience. When we are patient, we do not break under the weight of challenges. We bend, we adjust, we flow. We learn that strength is not always in force, but in persistence, in endurance, in quiet courage. The heart that is patient weathers storms without shattering. The mind that is patient sees solutions that impatience blinds us to. There was a young man who struggled with learning a difficult skill. He became frustrated when progress was slow, feeling incompetent, hopeless. I said to him, patience is the bridge between effort and mastery. Do not measure your progress by immediate results. Every small step, every repeated practice, every failure, every moment of confusion, these are the stones that build your path. Walk slowly, persistently, patiently, and you will arrive, often without realizing how far you have come. Even in moments of joy, patience deepens appreciation. When a flower blooms, when a child laughs, when the sun rises softly over the mountains, these are not to be rushed. To be patient is to be fully present, to savor, to notice, to feel. Life's sweetness is amplified by the quiet awareness that patience brings. Patience is the gentle teacher that asks us to trust time, trust process, and trust ourselves. It reminds us that all things come in their own rhythm, that growth cannot be hurried, and that the heart that waits with awareness gains wisdom, strength, and clarity. In patience, we find a deep, silent power, unshakable, enduring, and profoundly liberating. So, my dear friend, cultivate patience. Sit with it, breathe with it, live with it. Let it flow through your heart like a river that never stops. Allow it to guide you through difficulties, to steady your mind, to nurture your spirit. In patience, you discover not weakness, but strength, not delay, but preparation, not stagnation, but quiet, enduring growth. Letting go to find freedom. Ah, my dear friend, today we speak of something that touches the heart more than almost anything else. Letting go. You see, life often asks us to hold on. We hold on to people, to memories, to things, to dreams, to ideas of who we are, of who we think others are, of how life should be. And holding on can feel safe for a while, but deep down, it often brings tension, worry, and quiet suffering. The river of life keeps moving, and if we clutch too tightly, our hands ache, our hearts grow heavy, and the beauty of the present slips through our fingers. Letting go, my friend, is not giving up. It is finding freedom. I remember a young man who came to me with sorrow in his eyes. He had lost someone he loved dearly, someone whose presence had defined his days. "Master," he whispered, "I cannot let them go. My heart cannot bear it." I asked him to close his eyes and breathe, to feel the space around him, the quiet air, the rhythm of his own heartbeat. "Do you feel that?" I asked. "Your heart is still alive. Love has not disappeared. It has changed form. Letting go does not erase what you feel. It allows you to live again, gently, without clinging to what cannot be held. It does not dishonor your love. It honors it by giving it the space to breathe." He looked at me, eyes wide with fear. "But Master, if I let go, will I not lose everything?" I smiled softly. Letting go does not mean losing. It means accepting. It means understanding that life flows in currents we cannot always command. The person, the moment, the thing, it has been part of your path. And now, your path continues, with or without what you hold. To hold on too tightly is to break yourself. To let go is to grow. I once guided a woman who had been holding on to anger for many years. Anger towards someone who had hurt her deeply. She carried it like a stone in her chest, and every day, it weighed her down. She asked me, "Master, if I let go, am I not forgetting? Am I not weak?" I replied gently, "Letting go is strength, not weakness. Anger, like a fire, consumes the one who holds it longer than it consumes the other. When you release it, you reclaim yourself. You breathe freely. You open space for peace, for compassion, for clarity. Remember, letting go is not about them. It is about your own heart. Life often teaches us through loss and change. The river sweeps us along, whether we wish it or not. And when we resist, we suffer twice. Once for what is gone, and once for our resistance. I have met many who carry grudges, fears, regrets, unfulfilled dreams, thinking that holding on protects them. But the heart is not a cage. It is meant to flow, to expand, to embrace, to heal. Letting go is the quiet art of setting the heart free, even in the midst of sorrow. I recall a young man who had failed repeatedly in his career. Each failure clung to him, whispering doubts, feeding fears. He asked me, "Master, how can I move forward when my past holds me back?" I said softly, Your past is not a chain unless you make it so. Let it be a teacher, not a jailer. Let go of the fear, the shame, the stories you tell yourself about failure. They are not who you are. They are experiences, and experiences pass. When you release them, you step into your life with lighter feet, clearer eyes, and a heart ready to embrace what is possible. There was a woman who could not forgive herself for mistakes she had made years before. She came to me, wringing her hands, restless with regret. "Master, I cannot forgive myself. How can I live with this?" I held her gaze and said, "Forgiveness, like letting go, is a gift to yourself. To clutch your mistakes tightly is to carry stones in your pocket forever. Lay them down. Acknowledge what happened. Learn, grow, and then allow yourself to release. Your life continues, and your heart deserves to walk unburdened." Letting go also teaches trust. Trust in life, trust in time, trust in yourself. Often, we fear letting go because we cannot see what comes next. But the unknown is not empty. It is full of potential. When we release control, we allow life to surprise us, to guide us, to provide what we need, often in ways more beautiful than we imagined. The river does not ask the leaf to control its journey. It carries it naturally, safely, fully. So too with your life. Let go and flow. I have guided many who could not let go of a lost opportunity, a failed relationship, a broken dream. And I would say to them, do not resist the ending. The door has closed not to punish you, but to open another, perhaps unseen, perhaps uncertain, but rich with possibility. To clutch the closed door is to miss the path ahead. Let go, step forward, and notice what is waiting for you in the present moment. Life is patient with those who release. Even small things, my dear friend, require letting go. The irritation of a morning commute, the frustration of a delayed bus, the disappointment of a plan not going perfectly. These are tiny moments, yet they shape our hearts if we cling to them. To let go of small grievances trains the heart for greater releases. It teaches humility, flexibility, and grace. Every day offers practice if we are willing to notice. There was a man who feared death, feared change, feared the unknown. He clutched tightly to routines, possessions, and even to thoughts of immortality. I told him, all life is impermanent. Clinging does not stop it. Letting go, even of fear itself, allows you to meet each day fully, alive, awake, and free. Fear does not vanish overnight, but the willingness to release its grip is the beginning of true liberation. Letting go is not forgetting, nor is it weakness, nor is it surrender in despair. It is an act of courage, of insight, of profound self-care. When you let go, you open space for love, for growth, for joy, for understanding. You discover that the heart, once freed, can embrace life more fully, without hesitation, without trembling, without the weight of clutched shadows. I remember teaching a young woman who could not let go of her perfectionism. Every mistake, every slip, every moment of human weakness was punished harshly by her own mind. She asked me, "Master, if I let go, will I not become careless?" I smiled gently. Letting go is not carelessness. It is awareness. When you release the rigid grip of perfection, you see more clearly. You act more wisely. You love more gently. You grow stronger, because your energy is not trapped in judgment, but flowing freely, engaged with life as it is, not as you wish it to be. Even nature teaches us this truth. The trees shed leaves in autumn, not because they fail to hold on, but because letting go is essential for new growth. Rivers release water to the sea. Clouds drift freely across the sky. Life itself moves, releases, and transforms. We too are invited to let go, to trust, to flow. And sometimes, letting go is a quiet, daily practice. Releasing a thought that disturbs the mind. Releasing a desire that clouds the heart. Releasing expectations, judgments, and comparisons. Small acts, yet profound. Each release lightens the heart, clears the mind, and prepares us for the deeper lessons of life. My dear friend, letting go is the bridge to freedom. It is the path to peace. It is the opening of the heart, the lifting of the spirit, the deepening of understanding. To let go is to say to life, I trust you. I trust the flow. I trust my heart to carry me through, even when I cannot see the way. So practice, quietly, gently. Notice what grips your heart. Breathe, acknowledge, release, and feel the space that opens, the lightness that arrives, the quiet joy of being present, unburdened, awake. In letting go, you find not loss, but abundance, not emptiness, but fullness, not fear, but freedom, patience as your strength. My dear friend, today let us speak about patience, a quiet strength that is often misunderstood. Many think patience is simply waiting, doing nothing, being passive. But patience, true patience, is far deeper than that. It is not mere waiting. It is the gentle art of enduring, understanding, and flowing with life. Even when the current feels too strong, when the winds seem against us, when the heart longs for something it cannot yet grasp. Patience is not weakness. It is a quiet power that nurtures the soul and shapes our journey with care and wisdom. I recall a young woman who came to me, tears in her eyes, frustration weighing her down. She had been seeking a change in her life, working tirelessly, yet every door seemed closed. She asked, "Master, how long must I wait? How long must I struggle?" I smiled softly, taking her hand, and said, "Patience is not about counting the days or longing for an end. It is about how you carry yourself while you walk this path. Do you walk with anger, with anxiety, or do you walk with calm, with awareness, with trust? The world does not move according to our timetable, but it moves nonetheless. If you resist, you suffer twice. If you embrace patience, you move wisely, even in waiting." There was a man who had lost everything in a single moment. His work, his home, his security. Despair had filled his chest like heavy stones. He asked me, "Master, how do I survive this? How do I find hope again?" I led him to a quiet garden and said, "See this tree? It does not rush the seasons. Leaves fall when they must. Buds appear when the time is right. Life has its seasons too. Patience does not mean inaction. It means trusting that the right moment will come. Work diligently, live fully, and let the unfolding of life reveal its timing." This is the essence of patience. We often forget that life moves in rhythms we cannot command. We want immediate results, instant answers, and quick relief from pain or frustration. Yet the most meaningful things, the growth of a heart, the depth of wisdom, the mending of relationships, these are never instant. They require patience. I once guided a young man who wanted to master an art quickly, to become skilled overnight. He grew anxious, comparing himself to others, despairing at his progress. I said, "The bamboo that grows slowly becomes strong. The river that carves valleys does so over centuries. Your practice, your growth, your understanding, all unfold in time. Rushing only clouds your learning, while patience reveals the subtle lessons hidden in each moment." Patience is also about facing our own inner storms. When anger rises, when fear grips us, when desire pulls us toward impatience, patience is the gentle hand that steadies the heart. I recall a woman who struggled with her own temper. Every small annoyance would erupt in frustration, leaving her drained and regretful. I guided her to pause, to breathe, to notice the sensation without immediately reacting. Patience, I said, is the space between the impulse and the action. In that space, you find freedom. In that space, you find clarity. In that space, you discover who you truly are, beyond the fleeting storm of emotion. There are also moments when patience must be paired with courage. Waiting for change, enduring hardship, facing uncertainty. All these require a bravery that is quiet but unwavering. I once met a man who feared speaking his truth, fearing rejection and misunderstanding. He asked, "Master, should I speak now or wait?" I replied, "Patience does not mean silence out of fear. It means discerning the right moment. Courage walks hand in hand with patience. Trust yourself, trust the world, and when the moment is ripe, act with awareness and calm. The strength lies not in the haste of action, but in the timing, guided by wisdom and patience. Even nature teaches us this lesson. The mountains did not rise overnight. The rivers did not carve valleys in a day. Each stone, each drop of water, each seed takes its time. We are part of this rhythm. Impatience disconnects us from it. Patience reconnects us. When we are patient, we notice the gentle unfolding of life. The small miracles that often go unseen. A bud opening, a bird singing, a kind word offered at the right moment. All these are rewards of patience. I remember a young man who was learning to forgive. He wanted to rush his heart toward peace, to quickly release resentment and hurt. I told him, forgiveness cannot be forced, just as the river cannot be forced to flow faster. Patience is the soil in which forgiveness grows. Water it with understanding, sunlight with compassion, and time will bring the bloom. To rush the heart is to trample the flower before it can blossom. Patience is also intertwined with gratitude. When we are patient, we notice what is present, what we have, what life offers, even in small measure. A patient heart can appreciate a quiet morning, a shared smile, the warmth of sun on the skin, the simple act of breathing. Impatience blinds us, making us always reach for what is next, what is missing, what we think we lack. Patience brings us back to the present, where life is fully alive. I once met a woman who feared waiting for answers about her health. Anxiety consumed her, filling every hour with worry. I took her to a quiet pond and said, "Do you see this water? It waits without fear. It reflects the sky, the trees, without rushing or pushing. Your mind, too, can learn to wait with calm. Your heart can trust that the process unfolds as it should." Patience does not remove concern, but it changes how concern touches you. It allows you to remain whole, even while awaiting the outcome. Patience, my dear friend, is also the root of understanding. To truly know someone, to understand a situation, to grasp the lessons hidden in hardship, one must allow time, observation, and gentle reflection. A hurried heart misses subtle signals. An impatient mind misreads lessons. But a patient spirit listens, watches, and feels deeply. It allows wisdom to emerge naturally. There was a man burdened by regret, haunted by choices he wished to undo. Each night he prayed for a different past, a different outcome. I said, "Do not wish to hasten the river of life. The past is water under the bridge." Patience is learning to navigate the river with skill, not trying to reverse its flow. Let the lessons sink in. Let healing take root. In time, regret softens and clarity grows. Patience can also be an act of love. To love another fully is to be patient with their pace, their mistakes, their fears, their growth. I often remind my students that a hurried heart cannot nurture another. Only the patient heart can hold space for the unfolding of another's journey, just as it holds space for its own. Even in practice, in meditation, in simple mindfulness, patience is the quiet teacher. Sitting still, observing the breath, noticing thoughts without clinging. This is patience in action. It trains the mind to endure the wandering of thoughts, the restlessness of the body, the impatience of desire. In this practice, patience blossoms into understanding, compassion, and peace. I once guided a young man who sought to master his emotions, who wished for instant peace and control. "Master," he said, "I cannot calm my mind. It races, it resists." I told him, "Patience is your answer. Do not fight the mind. Observe it. Do not demand silence. Allow it." Over time, awareness deepens. Calm emerges naturally. The mind is like clay. It takes time, gentle hands, and patience to shape. Patience is not separate from life. It is life. It is in every heartbeat, every breath, every step. It is the quiet strength that carries us through trials, the gentle hand that steadies us in storms, the soft light that guides us through darkness. It is not passive, but active, present, engaged, and deeply wise. So, my dear friend, cultivate patience, breathe, notice the rhythm of life, trust the unfolding, stand steady in the currents of time, embrace waiting as a teacher. Let patience become your strength, your companion, your guide. In patience, you find resilience. In patience, you find clarity. In patience, you discover the quiet, unshakable power of a heart at peace, moving with life, fully awake, fully alive. Embracing letting go. Ah, my dear friend, today we speak about letting go, a gentle art that many of us resist without even realizing it. You see, letting go is not giving up, nor is it forgetting. It is learning to release what no longer serves us, to unclench the heart and mind from the weight of past burdens, regrets, and expectations. I often notice how people cling to what hurts them, how they replay old stories in their minds, holding tight to memories that sting, hoping that somehow by gripping them, life will feel more certain. But life does not work that way. Life is like a river, always moving, and holding onto stones from yesterday only slows the current of today. I remember a young man who came to me, shoulders hunched, eyes heavy with worry. He could not forgive himself for mistakes he had made long ago. Each day, he carried the guilt like a sack of stones, complaining that life was unfair. I asked him to sit beside me under the old oak tree and simply watch the wind move through the leaves. I said, "Do you see how the leaves do not cling to the branches? They fall when their time comes, and the tree does not resist. Life, too, offers you the chance to release. Holding on does not honor the past. It chains you to it. Letting go is an act of courage, of trust in the flow of life." There was a woman who had been hurt by a close friend, someone she had trusted deeply. The anger and betrayal had consumed her for years, replaying in her mind with each thought like a shadow that never left. She asked me, "Master, if I let go, will I forget? Will I seem weak?" I smiled gently and said, "Letting go does not erase your memory, nor does it make you weak. It frees your heart from the poison of resentment. You can carry the lesson, but you need not carry the pain. To forgive, even silently for yourself, is the first step toward peace. Do not confuse letting go with condoning. It is simply choosing your own freedom. Many people think that holding on gives them control, but it does not. Clinging to anger, to fear, to expectation only binds the heart. The river flows around the stones we hold. If we release our grip, life moves with us, not against us. I recall a man who had lost his job suddenly and had been obsessively thinking about his failures, worried about the future, clinging to a sense of injustice. I said, "Your grip is heavy, and it is not helping you move forward. Release the should have been, the if only, the why me. Accept this moment as it is, and you will find your next step becomes clearer. Holding on to what you cannot change only delays the unfolding of what you can create." Letting go is also about surrendering attachment to outcomes. We think we know what life should look like, how people should behave, what opportunities should appear. And when things do not align with our expectations, we suffer. I once guided a young woman who was anxious about the path of her career. Every day she worried if her efforts would pay off, if she was doing enough, if the world was judging her. I told her, "You cannot control everything, and to try is to exhaust yourself. Let go of the need to shape the future perfectly. Put your heart into each moment, into each action, and let the results unfold as they will. The path reveals itself to those who walk with open hands, not clenched fists." The act of letting go often involves embracing impermanence. Everything in life changes. The people we love, the opportunities we cherish, even our own thoughts and emotions. Resistance to this truth creates suffering. I remember a man who had lost a parent and refused to speak of them, refusing to accept the absence. His grief had become a cage. I said, "The love you share does not vanish with absence. Memories are treasures, not chains. Letting go does not diminish your connection. It allows it to exist without consuming your life. Grief flows like water, and it needs space to move. If you hold too tight, it stagnates and weighs you down. Sometimes, letting go is about shedding the identity we cling to. We tell ourselves stories of who we are, what we deserve, how the world should see us. These identities can be comforting, but they also limit us. A student came to me, anxious and restless, worrying that if she changed, people would no longer value her. I said, "Your value is not fixed in the story you tell yourself. Life will invite you to release old notions of self, to become someone wider, freer. Letting go of labels, even those we treasure, is how we step fully into the life that waits. You are more than the masks you wear." I recall the story of a man burdened by unspoken words and unresolved conflict. He had longed to reconcile with a sibling but feared rejection. Each day, he replayed scenarios in his mind, trapped in indecision. I said, "The weight of what is unsaid is not yours to carry forever. Let go of fear, speak if you must, or simply release the imagined harm you carry." Freedom comes when we release control over things we cannot command. Letting go does not mean abandoning care. It means releasing attachment to how things must be. Even in our daily habits, letting go teaches us subtle lessons. Perhaps a morning of irritation, a small disappointment, a failed expectation. These tiny moments accumulate, and our minds clutch them, feeding dissatisfaction. I guide my students to notice, breathe, and release. A minor irritation is not a chain unless we grip it tightly. When we let go, even for a moment, the heart becomes lighter and clarity returns. These small acts, repeated, transform our inner landscape. I often remind those who seek peace that letting go is like unclenching a fist that has been gripping too tightly. The tension may be unfamiliar at first. The hand may tremble when released. But gradually, you discover the strength of softness, the power of openness. Life begins to flow, and you are carried, not battered, by its currents. The struggle is not with life itself, but with the tight hold of the heart. Release, and you see what has always been there: space, breath, possibility. Sometimes letting go is intertwined with acceptance. Accepting that life has its own rhythm, that others have their paths, that pain and joy ebb and flow. I remember a young man who could not forgive himself for a past failure. He held tightly to shame, believing it would prevent further mistakes. I said, "Acceptance does not mean you are content with a mistake. It means you recognize what is, without adding extra suffering. Let go of the extra weight, my friend. Let the lesson settle, and move with gentleness toward what is next." Even attachment to happiness itself can bind us. We chase joy, expecting it to arrive and remain, clinging to moments that are fleeting. True contentment arises when we let go of the grasping, when we rest in the present, when we embrace life as it is. I guided a woman who constantly sought reassurance and success. She was exhausted by desire. I said, "Joy is not captured. It is discovered when the heart is still. Let go of chasing, and you will see life's subtle delights in the spaces between effort and expectation." Letting go is the doorway to peace. The practice of letting go can be slow, sometimes almost imperceptible. Some days we feel we have surrendered, only to find old clinging reappear. And that is okay. It is not a failure, but part of the unfolding. Each moment of awareness, each breath spent releasing, is a step forward. There is no rush, only steady return to openness, to trust, to flow. I recall a man who feared letting go of a relationship that had caused him pain. Every day, he hoped things would change, yet change did not come. I said, holding on does not shape reality. It only keeps you bound. To let go is to honor yourself, to reclaim your life, to move forward without bitterness. Freedom begins with release, even if the world does not follow your desire. Letting go is not limited to pain or loss. It includes release of pride, of ego, of preconceived notions. I often remind students that wisdom grows in spaces emptied of stubbornness. When we release the need to always be right, when we unclench from judgment, life becomes softer, more gentle, more clear. In letting go, we make room for understanding, for empathy, for connection. So, my dear friend, let go. Release what weighs heavy on your heart, your mind, your spirit. Trust the river of life. Trust your own resilience. Trust the unseen flow that carries you. Letting go is not ending. It is beginning again, lighter, freer, open to what is. It is the gentle art of embracing life without clutching, the wisdom of a heart that knows when to release and when to hold, the quiet courage that makes the soul sing, the power of patience. Ah, my dear friend, today we speak about patience, a quiet power that many overlook, yet it is one of the greatest teachers life offers. Patience is not simply waiting. It is the gentle strength to remain calm and steady when the world seems restless, to hold your heart lightly when circumstances move slower than your desire, to trust in the unfolding even when your mind screams for instant results. You see, patience is a river that flows beneath the storms of urgency. It is a deep root that steadies the tree in wind, and it is the quiet companion that walks beside you when everything feels uncertain. I remember a young man who came to me, pacing and restless, worried about his career and the opportunities that seemed to pass him by. Every day he would tell himself, "I must hurry, I must achieve, I must not fall behind." Yet, despite his endless effort, the more he rushed, the more he stumbled. I asked him to sit with me on the stone steps by the garden pond, to watch the water ripple gently with the wind. I said, "Do you see how the pond does not rush? It reflects what is, it receives what comes, and it waits for the light to touch it. Life, too, has its rhythm. Patience does not delay your journey. It ensures your steps are grounded and true." Many people misunderstand patience as weakness, as passivity. They think it is to simply tolerate, to accept mediocrity, or to resign. But true patience is far from that. It is active, conscious, and brave. I recall a woman burdened with health struggles, frustrated that her body would not respond as quickly as she wished. She was restless, anxious, and often angry. I said to her, "Patience is not about surrendering your will. It is about understanding the pace that life sets. The body, the mind, the heart, they all have their own timing. To rush them is to invite strain. To walk with patience is to honor your own rhythm and allow healing to move as it must." Even in relationships, patience becomes a quiet art. We expect others to act, think, or feel in ways that match our timing, our expectations. And when they do not, we grow irritated, hurt, or disappointed. A young couple once came to me, struggling with constant arguments and frustration. I asked them to sit quietly, hand in hand, and simply breathe together. I said, patience with each other is patience with life itself. People grow, hearts soften, understanding deepens. When you rush the other, you only push away the harmony that is waiting to unfold. Let each moment teach you. Let each silence between words deepen your compassion. I have known men and women who were impatient with their own growth. They wanted wisdom to arrive overnight, enlightenment to come in a flash, change to happen immediately. I laughed softly and said, "You cannot rush a tree to bear fruit before its time. You cannot hurry a seed to grow in the dark." Patience is not just about waiting. It is about nurturing, tending, and trusting the invisible roots. Every small step, every moment of awareness, builds what rushing can never create. Sometimes, patience asks us to endure discomfort. It is easy to wait when life is pleasant, when the sun warms your face and the path is smooth. But true patience is tested in difficulty, in uncertainty, in pain. I remember a man who had lost everything in a sudden turn of fortune. He came to me, exhausted and despairing, asking, "How long must I suffer?" I said, "Patience is not counted in days or months. It is measured in the heart's willingness to breathe, to continue, to be present even in hardship. Each moment you endure with openness is a victory over fear, a step towards strength, a seed of resilience planted in soil that feels barren." Patience also teaches us the value of observation. When we are hurried, we often miss the subtle lessons life offers, the quiet signs, the small joys that accumulate into richness. I once guided a student who was always racing, always seeking, never noticing the simple beauty of morning light or the laughter of children. I asked her to sit beside the blooming lotus pond, to watch the petals open slowly, and to notice the dragonflies dancing. I said, "Patience allows your eyes to see, your heart to feel, your mind to rest. Without patience, the depth of life escapes you in fragments of impatience and distraction." There is a story of a traveler who wanted to climb a mountain before dawn. He hurried, ran over uneven paths, stumbled, and fell repeatedly. A fellow traveler, walking slowly, reached the summit calmly, appreciating each step and each breath. I told my students, the mountain does not care for your speed. It waits for those who walk with mindfulness, with patience, with awareness. Hurry does not conquer the climb. Patience allows the journey to be whole, the view to be complete. Even in moments of waiting, patience can transform fear into trust. When we face uncertainty, when the next step is unclear, the heart wants to panic, the mind wants to control. I often remind those who struggle, do not rush the answers. Let your heart rest, let your mind breathe. Trust that the rhythm of life is not lost, that the steps you take are guided by what you cannot yet see. Patience is not absence of action. It is presence of wisdom in stillness. I recall a young man worried about a relationship, fearing it would end or never fully begin. He pressed for certainty, demanded promises, and sought control over the uncontrollable. I said, "The heart does not bloom on demand. Love unfolds like a flower, not on our schedule, but on life's own. Be patient with the heart, with the other, with the flow that brings connection. To rush love is to crush it before it opens." Patience is often intertwined with humility. We must acknowledge that we do not hold all answers, that we cannot command all events, that we cannot bend time to our wishes. A woman once came, frustrated that her life had not aligned with her plans. I said, "Patience asks you to step aside from your ego, to see the bigger pattern, to release the illusion that control is yours. Humility is the soil in which patience grows, the quiet strength that withstands disappointment, the gentle trust that life provides what is needed in time." Even in spiritual practice, patience is essential. Meditation, mindfulness, the cultivation of awareness. These are not tasks to complete, but rivers to flow within. Students often ask, "Master, when will I see progress? When will I know enlightenment?" I smile and say, patience is the path. Every breath, every return of attention, every gentle observation is the work itself. Progress is measured not in milestones, but in the softness of the heart, in the clarity of the mind, in the compassion that slowly deepens. I have seen men and women who are impatient with setbacks, believing they are signs of failure. Yet, patience turns setbacks into teachers, obstacles into lessons. A student struggling to forgive another came to me in frustration, saying, "Why is this so hard?" I said, patience is not the absence of challenge. It is the courage to meet difficulty without losing your center. Each trial is an invitation to grow stronger, to deepen awareness, to cultivate peace within, even if the outer world resists. Patience, my friend, is also about gentleness. We are often harsh with ourselves, criticizing our slowness, our mistakes, our perceived shortcomings. True patience embraces kindness toward oneself, the recognition that growth, healing, and understanding take time. I guide my students to speak softly to themselves, to acknowledge their efforts, to allow their heart space to unfold naturally. The mind that is patient is not idle. It is awake, observant, compassionate. Even in the tiniest moments, patience matters. Waiting for a cup of tea to cool, listening fully to another's words, taking a slow breath before responding in anger. All are acts of patience. The seemingly small moments teach us the power of timing, the grace of pause, the wisdom of presence. Life is not built in rushes alone. It is built in the rhythm of patience, the cadence of gentle attention, the quiet strength of steady hearts. So, my dear friend, cultivate patience in all things. Let it flow through your actions, your thoughts, your speech, and your heart. Trust that life unfolds with precision you cannot always see, and that your waiting is never wasted. Patience is the deep water that nourishes every seed, the quiet companion through storms, the gentle strength that makes the heart resilient. When you embrace patience, you embrace life itself, with all its uncertainty, beauty, and unfolding mystery. Embracing uncertainty. Ah, my dear friend, today we will sit together and speak about uncertainty, that quiet companion that follows each of us through life, sometimes as a shadow, sometimes as a teacher. People often fear uncertainty, as if it is a threat to their comfort, their plans, their carefully constructed maps of the future. Yet, in truth, uncertainty is not an enemy. It is the very soil in which life grows, the space in which freedom and possibility live, the gentle rhythm of change that teaches us to bend without breaking. I remember a young woman who came to me, her heart tight with worry about what the future held. She was so anxious about making the right choices in her work, her relationships, her personal growth that she could barely breathe. I invited her to walk with me along the quiet path of the garden, where leaves danced with the wind and sunlight touched the earth in patches. I said, "Do you see how the trees do not cling to what is gone, nor do they fear what has not yet come? They grow, they bend, they live moment by moment. Life is much the same, and uncertainty is the wind that helps us sway gently, not the chains that hold us down." We often imagine that we can control everything, that we can build a fortress of certainty around our lives. But life, as you and I both know, does not work this way. It moves like water, unpredictable and free, flowing around stones and over roots, sometimes calm, sometimes stormy. I recall a man who came, devastated because his plans had crumbled. A promotion he expected did not come. A relationship he relied on shifted. He said to me, "Master, I am lost. How can I know what to do?" I smiled softly and said, "The moment you think you know the whole path is the moment you stop seeing the signs, the lessons, the hidden blessings. Uncertainty is not your enemy. It is the teacher that opens your eyes to the truth that life unfolds beyond what the mind can predict. Even in the smallest matters, uncertainty challenges us. Waiting for news, wondering about a conversation, imagining what might happen tomorrow. All these are moments where our hearts tense, where fear or impatience arise. I often tell my students to sit quietly in these moments, to notice the feeling of not knowing, to breathe with it instead of against it. There is a strange peace in saying, "I do not know, and that is all right. I am here, and I will walk forward anyway." It is not weakness, it is courage. I recall a young man worried about his health. He could not see the path ahead clearly and feared the unknown. I said to him, "The mind wants certainty because it fears loss. But uncertainty teaches us to treasure the present, to be fully awake to what is now, rather than grasping at what may never come. To embrace uncertainty is to embrace life, not as a problem to solve, but as a gift to unfold. Even in our relationships, uncertainty appears, often as a silent challenge. We worry about what others feel, whether they will remain, whether they will understand. I once guided a young couple struggling with doubt. I said, "No heart can be read fully, no mind completely known. To expect certainty is to cage love before it can fly. Let go of the need to control the feelings of another. Instead, walk together in trust, in openness, in patience. Uncertainty is the air through which love learns to expand, to breathe, to grow." There is a profound lesson in the impermanence of all things. Nothing in life is fixed. Nothing remains exactly as it is. This truth can frighten the mind, but the heart that understands embraces uncertainty. I remember an old man who had lost all he had built, who had seen loved ones depart, who faced days unknown. He came to me, eyes weary yet alive. I said, "Do you fear what is coming?" He smiled and replied, "Master, I do not know what tomorrow brings, and that is why each day feels like a miracle." Uncertainty calls us to humility. We are reminded that our knowledge is limited, that our control is partial, that our grasp on reality is often looser than we believe. In this humility lies a quiet wisdom, the understanding that to live fully, we must walk lightly, without grasping too tightly at certainty that does not exist. A student once asked, "Master, how can I feel safe?" I said, "Safety is in presence, not in prediction. The world will always surprise you, but your heart can remain steady, your mind awake, your spirit gentle. Safety is in how you meet the unknown, not in avoiding it." I have seen how uncertainty opens doors to creativity and possibility. When the expected path disappears, when plans fail or dissolve, suddenly new avenues appear that we could not have imagined. A man who lost his job discovered a calling he had never known. A woman whose relationship ended found a depth of friendship and connection that was richer than she had expected. Life in its uncertainty nudges us into the fullness of what is possible, if only we let go of rigid expectations. Even our own minds are uncertain. Thoughts arise and fade, feelings shift, moods change. We try to anchor ourselves to certainty, to grasp one stable idea or feeling, but the mind itself is a river of impermanence. I often tell students, sit quietly and watch your mind, as if observing clouds drifting across the sky. Do not cling to what passes. Do not chase what comes. In this observing, You learn the art of embracing uncertainty in the self, in the heart, in the world. There are moments when uncertainty feels heavy, almost unbearable. And yet, these are precisely the moments that teach trust. To trust in the flow, to trust in life, to trust in one's own resilience. A young woman came trembling with worry about a decision that could change her life. I asked her to close her eyes and listen to her breath, to the rise and fall of life within. I said, "Feel this and trust it. Even if the path ahead is unclear, you are here, alive, capable of moving. Trust in the unfolding, for life does not abandon those who walk patiently with it." Uncertainty also fosters patience, for in not knowing, we must wait, observe, reflect. It slows the pace of the mind that wants to hurry, the heart that wants assurance. In this slowing, wisdom grows. I remember a student frustrated with a delayed answer to a prayer, a delayed resolution to a worry. I said, "Do not seek the answer too soon. The answer lives in the unfolding of your life, in the waiting, in the noticing." Uncertainty teaches patience, and patience teaches clarity. Even our joys are intertwined with uncertainty. We cannot cling to happiness as if it were permanent, nor can we avoid the sadness that shadows life. To accept uncertainty is to accept the fullness of life. The light and the dark, the laughter and the tears, the moments of certainty and the stretches of mystery. I often remind my students that embracing uncertainty is embracing the dance of life itself, in all its unpredictable beauty. And so, my friend, walk with uncertainty as you would walk with an old companion. Listen to what it teaches, feel the depth it brings, notice the richness it offers. Do not seek to fight it. Do not try to predict every turn. Do not fear the unknown. Life in its openness, its unpredictability, its mystery, is waiting for you to arrive fully, without grasping, without rushing, without the illusion of complete control. Uncertainty is not a void. It is the space in which life's true wonders arise, the room where possibility blooms, the rhythm that teaches you to breathe deeply, to observe clearly, to love fully, to be present in every fleeting, precious moment. And when the mind quivers, when the heart worries, return to the breath, to the moment, to what is tangible now. The wind cannot be caught, the clouds cannot be held, the river cannot be stopped. Yet we can float with them, we can move with them, we can live within them with openness and grace. In embracing uncertainty, you embrace life itself, and in embracing life, you discover the quiet joy of being here now, exactly as you are, exactly where you are, without needing to know all the rest. The art of letting go. My dear friend, today we will sit together and speak about letting go, a practice that is as gentle as the morning breeze and as challenging as holding onto water in your hands. People often think letting go means giving up or losing something precious, but it is neither. It is the quiet art of releasing the tight grasp of worry, the relentless clutch of fear, the stubborn hold of attachment. You see, we carry so much within us: memories, regrets, expectations, anger, longing, and often we do not realize that these heavy burdens prevent us from walking freely, from seeing the beauty that is right before our eyes. I remember a young man who came to me, carrying sadness as if it were a shield. He had lost someone he loved dearly, and every day he replayed moments of what he could have done differently. I told him, "Look at your hands. You cannot hold on to what is gone. The harder you clutch, the more it slips away. To hold on to the past is to miss the present. Letting go is not forgetting. It is allowing yourself to live fully now." And he looked at me, puzzled, as if this simple idea was a strange kind of freedom he had never known. Letting go begins with awareness. We must see what we cling to and how it affects us. I often tell my students, notice the thoughts that return again and again, the feelings that loop endlessly, the images that haunt you. Watch them without judgment. See them clearly, and you begin to understand where the grip of attachment is tightest. It is in this gentle noticing that the heart begins to soften, that the mind begins to loosen, and that space appears for peace to enter. Even in daily life, letting go is everywhere. A cup of tea spills, a conversation hurts, a plan collapses, a friend disappoints. If we cling to anger or regret, the small events grow large in our minds and our hearts tighten. But if we learn to release, even for a moment, the tension eases, the mind clears, and the ordinary world reveals its quiet wonders. I often say to students, let go of the need for every moment to be perfect. Let go of the expectation that the world must behave as you wish. Let go and notice what is left. The simple joy of being alive, the softness of a breath, the warmth of the sun. Sometimes, letting go requires courage, because what we hold is familiar, even if it causes suffering. We cling to memories, identities, and illusions of control because they feel safe, even when they are heavy. I recall a woman who could not release anger toward a family member. She said, "If I let go, I am afraid I will lose myself." I smiled gently and said, "Ah, my dear, the self that clings is already burdened. The self that lets go is light and free. You do not disappear, you expand." And slowly, over weeks and months, she practiced breathing into the discomfort, noticing it and releasing it, until her heart was lighter than it had been in years. Letting go also means forgiving, not only others but ourselves. We carry mistakes like stones in our pockets, feeling the weight of guilt and shame. But these stones do not make us stronger. They make us stumble. I tell those who struggle, to forgive yourself is to release the stone. To forgive another is to free your own feet. Holding on does not punish the other. It punishes you. Letting go is the path to your own peace. There is a subtle difference between surrender and defeat. Many fear that letting go is the same as giving in, but it is not. Letting go is a conscious choice, an act of courage and wisdom. It is saying, I cannot control this, and I will not let it control me. I release what I cannot hold and embrace what is real. I remember a young man troubled by uncertainty in his career. He wanted control over every outcome, but the more he tried, the more anxious he became. I said, release the need to force the river. Let it flow, and you will find your path. Letting go is not giving up. It is moving with the rhythm of life. Even in grief, letting go teaches us gently. Grief is not something to escape. It is something to honor and then release, like a bird returning to the sky. I recall a woman mourning her parent. Every day, she visited the quiet garden, sitting in the sunlight, breathing slowly. I told her, grief is love, and love is not lost. Let it flow through you like water, and then let it go. It will return in your own heart as memory, as warmth, as understanding, without the sharpness of suffering. Attachment often clouds our vision. We cling to people, to things, to ideas, to moments, thinking they define us or protect us. Yet, in clinging, we forget to see the world as it is, the people as they are, the life as it flows. Letting go is the key to seeing clearly. I say to my students, release the need to hold life in your hands. Stand in the openness, breathe in the uncertainty. Notice what is before you, and you will see beauty where you thought only pain existed. Even joy, even happiness, must be let go at times. We often try to grasp pleasure as if it could be kept forever, but the heart that clings to happiness becomes anxious when it fades. I often remind people, Notice the joy, taste it fully, then release it. Hold it lightly like a feather. Letting go does not take away the sweetness. It allows it to remain unspoiled, free from fear of loss. Letting go also means letting go of expectations, of ourselves, of others, of life. We imagine the way things should be, and when reality does not match, we suffer. I say, do not fight the world for being as you wish. Let go of the idea that life owes you comfort or certainty. Embrace what is, and in that space, you discover freedom, creativity, and peace. Even our plans are transient. We may strive, prepare, and hope, yet circumstances change, people change, and life surprises. I remind students, hold your plans like water in your hands. Let them flow, and you can shape them again. Grip too tightly, and they break. Letting go is not passivity. It is flexibility. It is wisdom. It is harmony with life's rhythm. And in the end, letting go is love. Love for ourselves, love for others, love for life as it is. To release control, to release anger, to release attachment, is to make room for connection, for compassion, for understanding. I say, a heart that lets go is a heart that can hold the whole world, without grasping, without clinging, without fear. So, my dear friend, practice letting go every day, in small ways and in great. Let go of irritation in traffic, of the need to be right, of grudges, of fears. Let go of the past. Let go of the imagined future. Let go of what you cannot change. And in this gentle releasing, notice how your heart grows lighter, your mind clearer, your life more present. Letting go is not an act of loss. It is the discovery of fullness, the quiet joy of freedom, the warmth of presence. Breathe with it, live with it, feel the subtle art of letting go, and you will discover that the world is softer, life is richer, and your own heart is wide enough to hold all that is, without grasping, without clinging, without fear. Letting go is the door to peace, the path to wisdom, and the gentle unfolding of love, all waiting quietly within your own being. The journey within and beyond. Ah, my dear friend, now we have reached the final part of this long journey together, and I want us to sit quietly for a moment, just you and me, and reflect on all that we have walked through. Life is like a river, always moving, sometimes swift and sometimes calm, sometimes bright in sunlight, and sometimes shadowed by clouds. We cannot stop it, we cannot command it, but we can learn to move with it, to float in its currents without being pulled under. That, my dear, is the essence of what we have been exploring. How to live fully, freely, and peacefully in a world that never stops changing. Through all the parts we have shared, we have spoken of silence and patience, of letting go and embracing, of understanding pain and cultivating joy. And now, in this quiet ending, I want to remind you that these teachings are not something you carry like a burden or a checklist. They are whispers, gentle reminders that life is not about perfect control or endless striving, but about presence, about noticing the small miracles that happen in the ordinary moments of your day. Notice the sunlight on the floor, the sound of wind through the trees, the breath that rises and falls in your chest. These are not small things. They are life itself, simple and profound if we only allow ourselves to see. I remember sitting by a mountain stream long ago, watching the water tumble over stones, clear and bright, always moving, never clinging to the past nor worrying about the future. And I thought, this is how our hearts should flow. This is how the mind can be free. So often we carry the weight of yesterday, or the worries of tomorrow, and forget the moment that is here, right now. And in this moment, there is everything you need. There is peace, there is love, there is understanding. You do not need more than this breath, this beat of your heart, this simple awareness that you exist. Sometimes, my friend, we look at ourselves and see only our flaws, our mistakes, the moments we wish were different. But if we shift our gaze, even a little, we can see that every experience, every hardship, every joy, every sorrow has shaped us into the person we are right now. And that person is enough. You are enough. Even when you feel small or broken, remember that the river of life flows through you, that each moment is a chance to be whole again, to smile at the simple beauty that surrounds you. And love, oh gentle love, do not forget it. It is not always loud. It is not always grand. Often it is quiet, subtle, like the warmth of a fire on a cold night, like the soft voice of a friend who understands without judgment. Love yourself first, my dear friend, because from that well springs all the other love you will give. And when you love, let it be gentle, letting others be who they are without trying to mold them, without trying to hold too tightly. Love is freedom, not possession. We have spoken of letting go, and now I remind you again. Let go of the things that weigh you down, the grudges, the fears, the expectations that do not serve you. Let go not because you are weak, but because you are strong enough to release, to breathe, to trust in the flow of life. The river will carry what it must, and you will find yourself lighter, your mind calmer, your heart more spacious. Letting go does not mean you forget. It means you honor what has passed and make room for what is to come. And in your daily life, my dear, remember to find joy in the simple things. A cup of tea, a smile from a stranger, the scent of rain, the laughter of a child, the quiet moments when the world feels still. These are the treasures, hidden not in gold or fame, but in awareness, in presence, in the gentle unfolding of life as it is. Notice them, savor them, and do not hurry past them. Life is not a race. It is a journey, and each breath, each step, each heartbeat is part of the path. I want to speak too about patience, because life often tests us. We want answers quickly. We want change to happen immediately. We want to see results without waiting. But the truth is, everything unfolds in its own time. A seed does not sprout overnight. The sun does not rise faster if we wish it. And our hearts, our minds, our understanding, they too grow slowly, quietly, like roots spreading deep into the earth. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with others. Trust the timing of your life, and let each day teach you gently, as a friend would, without pressure, without judgment. And now, my dear friend, look back at this journey we have shared. All the talks, all the stories, all the reflections, they were meant to guide you to a place where you can feel the quiet strength inside yourself. Not a strength that fights the world, but a strength that embraces it. Not a strength that controls, but a strength that flows. You are not separate from life. You are a part of it, as much as the river is part of the mountain, as much as the wind is part of the trees. You belong here, right now, exactly as you are. And when you face difficulties, remember this: you are stronger than you know. Life may bend you, challenge you, even break you at times, but it will never take your spirit. Your spirit is like the sky, vast, open, and untouched by passing storms. Breathe deeply, see clearly, and step forward one gentle step at a time. You do not need to rush. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be present, only need to be awake, only need to be yourself. Even the quiet moments are full of wisdom. Listen to the stillness within you. Listen to the sounds around you, and you will hear the truth that has been there all along. Life is alive, you are alive, and this moment is precious. Nothing more, nothing less, and that is enough. The rest will follow. It always does. So as we end this part and this long journey together, I want you to feel the gentle peace that is always here, waiting for you. Let your heart rest in it. Let your mind soften into it. Let your spirit float in it like a leaf on a calm river. Carry these words not as instructions, but as companions, reminders of what is already within you, ready to bloom whenever you allow it. And finally, my dear friend, walk your path with courage, with kindness, with curiosity, and with love. Trust yourself. Trust life. Trust the quiet, steady unfolding of each day. And remember, even when you feel alone, you are not. You are part of the world, and the world is part of you. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Smile gently to yourself and go forward, carrying the peace, the wisdom, and the love that has always been yours. Life is beautiful, and so are you. This is our ending, yet also a beginning. May your days be soft. May your heart be light. And may you always remember the quiet power of simply being here, right now, fully and completely, just as you are.